Hello. I might look today at the way Watchtower manages its money and see does it comply with the way that the early Christians did things. And we might start in Galatians chapter 2, and here the Apostle Paul has gone to Jerusalem to see if the way that he is teaching the Gentiles is acceptable to the apostles, which it was. However, in verse 10, the only thing they insisted on was that we should remember to help the poor, as indeed I was anxious to do. So, help the poor. Now, in 1 Corinthians 16, Paul gave instructions to the congregations to set aside something as they were able to afford it, to send a ministration to Jerusalem. Now, what was this for? Well, if we look in the book of Acts, chapter 11 and 27 onwards, some prophets had come down from Antioch to Jerusalem. And one of them, Agabus, said he predicted that a famine would spread over the whole empire. This happened before the reign of Claudius came to an end. So the money that Paul was here collecting was to send a relief ministration to Jerusalem. Now, he elaborates in 2 Corinthians chapter 8. And here we are in verses 13 to 15. 12. As long as the readiness is there, a man is acceptable with whatever he can afford. Never mind what is beyond his means. This does not mean to give relief to others. You ought to make things difficult for yourselves. It is a question of balancing what happens to be your surplus now against their present need, and one day they may have something to spare that will supply your own need. Now, admittedly, in the book of Romans, chapter 15, 26 and 27, Paul says this about helping those that spread the good news. He said, the brothers in Macedonia had decided to send a generous contribution to the poor among the saints at Jerusalem. What did he say? This was as it should be, since it is really repaying a debt. The pagans who share the spiritual possessions of these poor people have a duty to help them with temporal possessions. So the money was sent to help with the famine, with whatever the poor people in Jerusalem didn't have. This is the poor Christians. So we ask ourselves, are the governing body members short of food? Are they short of clothing? Do they have a roof over their heads? Are they in any way needing something, as the Bible puts it, temporal, something physical? I don't think so. What they want money for is an expensive luxury building in order to produce films. They've become a film studio. Now, instead of giving to the poor, they appear to ask the poor to give to them for this luxury thing. Now, it's not going to be finished until 2026, but I asked the governing body, have they looked at the weather lately? There have been droughts so bad that it causes fires. People have lost their homes and their incomes because of it. There have been flash floods, which has done the opposite, although once again deprived people of their homes. There have been tornadoes, hurricanes, heat waves. Have they sort of taken this into account? Is there going to be a world in 2026? Now, you don't want to go from one extreme to the other. Yes, the Watchtower was wrong to say Armageddon was coming in 1975. But we don't want to go the other way and say that the end is never going to come, because Jesus said that these things would happen. And can we get anywhere nearer to what Jesus said about earthquakes? I don't know if you've been following the volcano in La Palma, but hundreds, if not thousands, of earthquakes. Then we have these floods and famines. We have the pestilences in the form of the recent pandemic. Do they want any more signs that the end is near? Would it not be better to go out, preach the good news, say to people, look, there's a better world coming, rather than spend their time in making expensive films? Who knows, is there going to be an internet by 2026? We think of these things as permanent, but the internet was never designed to carry the load that it's carrying at the moment. So, I'm just throwing a few things in the air. The end of the world is coming. Do the Watchtower governing body or their friends, do they need money? The answer is no. Can they help other people who are poor? Yes, they should do. Are they doing so? I'll leave it for you to decide. Now, a little bit of news. There was a film festival in Killarney recently. It's quite a prestigious one. But one of the films which actually won an award was made by an ex-witness. And it was about the story of a girl who gets into sort of moral dilemmas. And she's pulled up before the elders, and the elders ask the most disgusting questions. The girl is disfellowshipped, and her mother, who has already lost her husband to being disfellowshipped, now has no one to talk to. That, I think, is the gist of the film. I haven't seen it. A friend told me about it. I have never been more ashamed of belonging to this organization. As it says in Luke, whatever is hidden will be revealed. Watchtower, did you not know that? Did you not know that what was going on behind closed doors would be left open to the world? So there we are. Rather depressing one today, I'm afraid. But a Christian's duty is to help where we can, as Paul said, not to make things hard for ourselves, but to sort of compensate if we can, level things out a bit. Now, I hope to put up a couple of clips of maybe more peaceful things. We need a little bit of solace after discussing Watchtower's ups and downs. But thank you for watching, and God bless us all. Thank you.